Hey everyone, it's Sheena again. And today I am going to discuss the tip number one for improving your English for your call center job. And that is listening. Listening. So before I dive into the nitty gritty of this technique, let me first explain the difference between how a native English speaker learns English versus how a non native English speaker learns English. Because English is their mother tongue, native English speakers like Americans, Canadians, Australians, and British, they learn how to speak English early in life. In fact, even before they go to school. Before school, they don't study the grammar rules. They don't study how to pronounce each word. They learn through listening. Of course, their parents might correct them with certain words and pronunciations, but 99% of the time, they really learn through listening. By the time they go to school, they already know how to speak English on their own, and then they learn the grammar, and then they widen their vocabulary. On the other hand, Filipinos and other non-native English speakers learn the exact opposite way. They first learn the grammar rules, they first learn the vocabulary, and only then are they able to speak English. When we learn English in school, we usually learn it by reading and writing. And when we do listen, we listen to our Filipino teachers, and then we acquire their Filipino accent. Okay, a little disclaimer here. I didn't make this video to badmouth our Filipino teachers who work really hard teaching their students in school and writing lesson plans at home. My mother is a former teacher herself, so I understand how hard it is to be a teacher in the Philippines. I am never in any way saying that it is your English teacher's fault that you don't speak fluent English right now. They were never hired to teach us call center English. They were hired to help us function in a world where English is the international language. That's it. And I'm also not saying that reading, writing, and studying the grammar rules are all useless. They do have their own uses. But if you want to speak English spontaneously, instantly, and if you want to acquire a certain accent, what you really need to do the most is listening. And I personally think that we have done enough writing and enough reading and enough studying of grammar rules, but never really enough listening. And I think that it's time that we change that. So, to convince you of the efficiency of learning English through listening, let me discuss with you the benefits. So, the first benefit of learning English through listening is that it helps you think in English. Most of us, usually, when we talk in English, we first create this thought in our head in vernacular, and then we translate that into English. As a result, there is a noticeable delay. It might be short, but most of the time, if you are not fluent, it's going to be really long, noticeable, and even sometimes wrong. And that is where the problem begins. In order to talk to your customers, speaking English should come spontaneously, automatically, and without delay. And when you listen to native English speakers often, that you get used to the sound of the language, you start to change the process on how you create your sentences and how you speak English. Instead of creating the thought in vernacular initially, you begin to create your thoughts in English. As a result, you don't have to do the translation in your head. You begin to speak automatically, naturally. And that's exactly your goal if you really want to speak in English fast. And listening, in my experience, really helped me with that. You don't have to have a pen and paper. You don't even have to study the grammar rules. You just have to listen with your earphones. That's it. And pay attention. Again, the more you listen in English, the more you tend to think in English. And the second benefit of listening is that it helps you capture the music and the feel of the sound patterns. And by sound patterns, I mean the pronunciation, the enunciation, the rising and falling intonation, the subtle twist of the tongue that makes the difference between mill and meal, tick and tuck, fill and feel, stick and steak. Not to mention the difference between the verb read and its past tense read, the verb lead and the metal led. And don't even get me started on the word stress. like the difference between the noun address and the verb address, the noun conduct and the verb conduct. These are the subtle sounds that you would really have missed if you were only reading and writing. The thing is, reading will help widen your vocabulary and writing will help you organize your thoughts, but listening has a different purpose. It will help you recognize the difference between subtle sounds that you would have never noticed if you were only reading and writing. And the third benefit that I got through listening was that it helped me acquire the accent that I wanted to acquire. Okay, so let me tell you about my first day of taking calls. That was a humiliating experience. Now, obviously, when it's our first day of taking calls, we get really nervous and our English gets really worse. I think she was my first customer. Most of our customers speak English, but they also speak French. And I was in the middle of talking with this customer and she suddenly interrupted me and told me that she could barely understand me. My accent was so heavy that she could not understand me. And then she asked if I speak French, and I couldn't answer. She then started talking to me in French, assuming that I was also a French Canadian. But of course, I'm not a French Canadian, I'm a Filipino. And unfortunately, I was not allowed to disclose to the customer that we are in the Philippines. The goal was to just tell the customer that we are here in the same country as you are. We have the same citizenship. Obviously, that's not true because the customer could already feel that I am not a native English speaker, nor was I French. So she finally figured out that I was in the Philippines and she told me that, oh, so you are in the Philippines, but I don't speak Tagalog. And then she asked for a supervisor. So I think I was lucky at the time because the agent beside me was a tenured rep. So he acted as my supervisor. Nevertheless, it was really humiliating. That day was really humiliating. Not that I was always experiencing that in every single call, but during my first month of taking calls, it was really awful. I had to deal with customers always complaining about my accent. Of course, I realized that I needed to improve my accent because I really wanted to remain in that industry. I just didn't have any choice. So what I did was I searched YouTube and I came across this YouTube channel by A.G. Hogue. In this one particular video, he was strongly endorsing the method of listening in order to speak English. And I was captivated by the idea because I didn't even have to have a pen and paper with me. I just had to listen and expect my English to improve. So I did that. Within months, I really saw the difference. Big difference with my English. I also have to tell you that before I applied in the call center, I was already trying to improve my English. Before I knew that listening is effective for speaking English, my method for improving my English was like this. I would read a book, an English book, and I would read it out loud. Out loud because I wanted to practice speaking in an American accent, which was the accent that I wanted to copy at the time. I would read the book aloud, and then every time I encountered a new word, I would look it up in the dictionary. Lastly, I would then write my diary and intentionally use those new words so that I would be able to remember the new words. It was really effective in expanding my vocabulary. But when it came to my accent, it did very little, if at all. Because you see, I was modeling after myself. I was not listening to a native English speaker, so there was really nothing to learn accent-wise. So that process somehow helped me improve my English. It still improved my English, but when it came to the accent and the spontaneity, it just did very little. Compared to my second method, which was just listening and listening, hours of listening consistently every day. The second method did wonders with my English. The good thing at the time was my salary from the call center allowed me to extend my sessions in the internet cafe. So I would go to youtube.com and then I would download videos by native English speakers, convert them into MP3 online, and then download them. So by the time I get home, I just have my earphones on and I just listen. No pens, no paper, no dictionary, no diary, just listening. And it was amazing how it transformed my accent. So if your main problem right now is your accent, I really suggest that you try this technique. This is very, very effective. I have tried it for myself and it worked. And the last benefit of learning English through listening is that it will help with grammar. I know that sounds really weird, right? Because after all, you are just listening. You're not really studying the grammar rules. But for me to illustrate my point, I want you to read these four sentences that you are seeing right now on the screen. Forget about the grammar. I don't want you to focus on the grammar. I just want you to read them out loud. I will give you 5 seconds to do that. And done. Now, obviously, all four sentences are grammatically wrong. It was so obvious, right? But what exactly made you think that all four sentences are grammatically wrong? Was it because you manually reviewed the grammar rules? Or was it because something just didn't sound right with the words that you were reading? I am willing to bet that it was the latter. That something just didn't sound right in all these sentences. There was just this nagging feeling of knowing in your heart of hearts that what you just heard was just wrong. And you didn't even have the time to check the grammar rules manually. You just know, like instantly. So you see, you already have this little ability to distinguish a wrong sentence from a correct one. And when you try to improve your English through constant listening, you actually amplify this ability of yours to spot a wrong grammar sentence, that it becomes natural. You don't have to try very hard. You don't have to manually review the grammar rules in order to know that a certain sentence is grammatically wrong. You will automatically know that it's not supposed to be I knows, but I know. Not she understanded, but she understood. Not you eats, but you eat. And certainly not they eated, but they ate. So if you have been trying to remember all the grammar rules, but for some reason they just slip off your mind, I think it's about time that you try to listen to English and see what it does to your grammar. So now that I have explained the benefits of listening when improving your English, it is time for me to give you the how. How to maximize the benefits of listening. Because I hear a lot of applicants who are saying that, oh, Sheena, I actually already did a lot of listening. In fact, I have watched a lot of English movies. I have listened to a lot of YouTube videos by native English speakers, but it's not doing anything with my English. So the following are my tips to help you if you are struggling with the same thing. So my tip number 1 is to listen to casual and conversational English. From elementary to high school to college, we have been learning formal English. And we have been learning very little conversational English. Because I think that the only conversational English that we had in elementary especially was like, hi, hello, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. And you? Something like that. And I think it's about time that we explore the other side of English. I think it's about time that we forget about the formal English for now and we focus on the conversational English because that's exactly the kind of English that you are going to be using with your customers. And speaking of casual English, I got a comment the other day in one of my videos telling me that I should stop using wanna, gonna, and lemmy. This was the exact comment. Feedback po, please refrain from using slang words like wanna, gonna, lemmy. Nagagaya ng mga newbies. It does not sound professional. Sakit sa tenga. Well, I disagree with that. I think it's about time that we forget the formal English that we have been learning in school since elementary, high school, and college. I think it's about time that we actually start learning the other side of English, the casual English, the ones with the slang, colloquials, double negatives, and even triple negatives. I think they're important because you are not going to be writing a poem here. You are not going to be delivering the 6 a.m. news and you don't have to be formal. You need to talk to people here and your customers are going to expect you to sound just like them. minus the cursing, of course, but still, they expect you to sound just like them. Don't be horrified to hear double negatives and triple negatives. Don't be horrified when you hear assimilations like wanna, gonna, gotta. They are part of our daily conversation. And another point in this comment that I disagree with is when it said that gonna, wanna, lemmy don't sound professional. Well, they're not part of the formal English. They are not the kind of words that you should be using when writing. But should call center agents avoid these? Absolutely not. I don't think so. I did a quick search in Google to see how often these words are used in daily conversations. And this was what I found. As far as I know, everyone seems to use it. It's like an unavoidable speech habit that even the educated people have. It's called assimilation and refers to how words are run in together. They kind of join up and it makes speaking easier instead of painstakingly breathing out every single syllable clearly. This happens in all sorts of languages and among all sorts of people. So, yes, to answer your first question, these words are used rather commonly in oral English, especially in America. Your second question, in most cases, yes. In formal situations, people try to avoid them, instead, going for the more correct form, such as going to instead of gonna. Example, a television news program where the newsreader mustn't slur his words. And if there's one thing that I learned from this answer, it was this. If you are not a news anchor or you're not a reporter, then yes, by all means, use wanna, gonna, gotta, let me, all you want. You'll be fine. I promise. And another thing, you might say that, oh, Sheena, I don't really want to listen to native English speakers speak because I can barely understand them. I only know simple words, and when they do speak, I don't usually understand most of the words they are saying. Well, in that case, I have a solution for you, and that is my tip number 2, which is to listen to easy to understand audios and videos. I don't care how easy or how simple the materials that you're going to listen to. The most important thing here is not really about widening your vocabulary. It's not about that. You are listening in order to help you develop that spontaneity when speaking English, to help you automatically think in English instead of thinking in vernacular first and then translating it. That is the goal. To help you get used to the music of the language, to the sound patterns, to help your subconscious absorb all those information that studying the grammar and writing just would not accomplish. In fact, did you know that if you know at least 800 most commonly used words in English, you will already be able to understand 75% of the daily conversation? According to my source here, which I'm going to link below, it says that if you learn only 800 of the most frequently used alemas or words in English, you will be able to understand 75% of the language as it is spoken in normal life. So you see, you don't need to have a wide vocabulary. You don't have to know a lot of words. You just need to know the most commonly used words in English in daily conversation. And if you went to elementary and if you went to high school, then I am pretty sure that you know more than 800 words in English, which means that you will be able to improve your English by listening. And my tip number 3 is to use subtitles. This is important if it's hard for you to understand some of the words that are spoken in a movie or in a video. It's just like learning how to ride a bicycle and you have this little mechanism to help you balance. Once you learn how to balance, then you can remove that and then you're good to go. If possible, use subtitles to help you understand every single word that is being said in the video. And tip number 4, and also very important, is to listen to materials that do not bore you to death. If you are bored, you're not just gonna learn anything, period. I don't care about the type of movies that you're gonna watch. I don't care about which YouTuber that you're gonna follow. As long as they are in native English and they are not boring to you. So it's very important to watch the English movies that tickle your fancy, that you find interesting. I don't care as long as you are enjoying it. When you are listening to improve your English, do not ever forget to also have fun because your brain will engage better and learn information better when it's not bored. And my tip number 5 is to train your ears to be curious. What do I mean by this? What I mean by this is when you hear a new word that sounds strange to you, try to roll it around your tongue and taste the word. Taste the word. Try to feel the music of the word. Try to feel the rhythm, the rising and falling intonation, the stress, everything, for you to be able to copy the melody of the word, if that makes sense. Like this. Colloquial, colloquial, colloquial.
Colloquial, 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 colloquial,
Colloquial, colloquial,
colloquial,
colloquial,
colloquial,
colloquial. Oh, okay. Next. Spontaneity, spontaneity,
spontaneity,
spontaneity,
spontaneity,
spontaneity.
spontaneity,
Oh. Spontaneity, spontaneity. Re. Not the, but the. Spontaneity, spontaneity.
spontaneity, spontaneity,
Spontaneity, spontaneity.
spontaneity,
Okay, got it. This is very effective if you are trying to acquire a certain accent. And the good thing is, it only takes less than a minute. It doesn't take forever. It will not bore you to death. So throughout the day, when you encounter words that are new, try to pronounce them. Try to feel their melody, their rhythm, their sound patterns, basically. Sound patterns, yeah. And my tip number 6 is to remember that repetition and consistency are your best friends. All the things that I discussed here are not going to matter if you don't repeat them daily. If you're not consistent and you don't repeat them, and if you only do them once, then your effort is just good as nothing, like zero, nada, nothing. Just don't expect to see any progress if you're not doing these every day. Wherever you go, whatever you do, if you can, try to listen. You only have to have your cell phone and your earphones and you're good to go. You don't have to drop what you're doing if you're a busy person. You can just squeeze it in. If you are doing your laundry or if you're cleaning your house, you can just wear your earphones and you're already improving your English in the process. Listening is not a demanding task. You don't have to have a pen and paper, a dictionary, and a notebook to have it. All you have to have are your cell phone and your earphones, and you're fine. You can't even make the excuse of, oh, I have no internet at home. No, that excuse is just shallow. Go to the internet cafe and just download the YouTube content that you like, convert them into MP3 or MP4, it's fine, and then you can view them or listen to them in your phone, and you're already learning. This is something that you can do every day. You don't need to have a pen and paper or a dictionary or a diary. You just have to do it every day and be consistent with it, and you should pretty much expect an improvement within months. All right, that is all for today because it's already raining outside. If you have any questions, comment down below, like, subscribe. Bye.